And now, America's Midweek Review.
Whenever dark is falling, you know the spirit of the party starts to come alive until the day is dawning. We can throw out all the blues and hit the city.
Welcome to the Midweek Review on September 30th, 2020. I am your host, Yanni, here this week. Excited. Lots of things to get off into with you guys this week. Had a great debate last night. Well, started off great, but it kind of teared off and veered off into something else. We're going to get off into that too as well. So excited for you guys to be with us here today. And just know that we do have a country to save. And just be excited that you are one of the people that are on the front line who are able to help save this country by the decisions you make every single day. We're about 32 days out from time to vote. So get ready, you guys. Get your barrels loaded and let's go and attack these polls and get this country back on track. And in fact, keep this country on track because we totally need to be there. No doubt about it. So, last night we had the first presidential debate. And, I've been chomping at the bit for that for quite some time, waiting for sleepy Joe Biden to come out of his basement. And I'm sure everyone in America was waiting for Joe Biden to come out of the basement so we can have this conversation. The conversation is a debate for the American people, for them to see what they're getting, what they're buying. You ever go to a store sometimes, you get that buyer's remorse. What the American people are attempting not to do is have buyer's remorse with their presidents. And so therefore we have these debates and we come together and everyone makes that decision and vote based on what they see or what they heard. The unfortunate thing is the United States are turning like idiocracy. There's a movie out there and it's like 500 years or something into the future. And the movie, it's so hilarious because everyone is dumb. They're like really dumb. They're like dumb as hell. And they laugh at the stupidest things. The trash is piling up all over the country in that time. And that's kind of where we're going if we don't watch it. Being dumbed down by social media, being dumbed down by television, being dumbed down by news and TV shows and the like. But, we do have an opportunity to change some things and make things better. But it starts with our vote. So get out there and vote, guys. I plead with you guys. But going back to the debate for last night, Donald Trump came out in attack fashion. I'm looking at an article here, and over at Breitbart, it said Donald Trump won the first debate. Now, two schools of thoughts if you think about it. Did he really win the first debate, or did Joe Biden win the first debate? I know what I saw when I was watching and observing the debates. Joe Biden was kind of like that boxer in the ring that's, kind of pedaling and, want to run around the ring and kind of tire out the champ. Donald Trump is the champion. And I look at this article here and it says Donald Trump won the first debate. The corrupt national media are not demanding the two remaining presidential debates to be canceled. They're demanding the corrupt national media is demanding that the two remaining presidential debates to be canceled because they believe Joe Biden wiped the floor with Donald Trump. It is amazing the two points of view that you see when you look at the news. And so therefore, if you have skewed news or fake news or news where people are adding their little ingredients, it's not really helping the society. These are things we really want to think about, things we want to take a look at. The corrupt national media are not demanding the two remaining presidential debates be canceled because they believe the spectacle of the norm violating that occurred Tuesday, and it was kind of normal. It was a little different. Night was bad for the democracy. This is the same media out there encouraging riots and looting and arson and also assaults. Isn't that quite funny? It's like, well, the horror. America can't see it. They can't withstand another presidential debate because their eyes, their ears were bleeding. They were running to the hills with pitchforks and torches like Joe Biden says. Once he brought up the Charlottesville thing, hopefully we'll be able to touch on that a little bit later in the program too as well. But it's absolutely ridiculous. But before we go on, you guys, you can also find episodes over at SoundCloud, over at The American's Voice as well. And you can catch episodes there too. So go over and check that out. So I'm looking at this article here, and it's quite stunning to me because it's very true. I was talking to one of my relatives the other day, and we were talking about the two Americas. And his response to me was his two Americas. Yeah, I said, there are two Americas. There are two frames of thinking, two frames of thought in this country. Let's move on. So the corrupt media, they're not demanding the truth. They never are. Okay? So they say the two remaining presidential debates to be canceled because this one is made the children cry. So the children in the House, supposedly, in the liberal houses, they were crying tears because they saw President Trump attacking Joe Biden. Well, let me tell you something, guys. If you're going to be in a presidential debate, what you want to do, you want to be precise, you want to be sharp, you want to be on point, you want to also attack that candidate that's trying to attack you. See, Joe Biden tried the passive under the radar type thing. I heard someone say that he did the same thing he tried to do to Paul Ryan too. So that nice Joe Biden that you see, oh, the sleepy Joe, or he's just nice Joe, or that's the Joe you see all the time, those things aren't really true. Trump was like the master interrogator, and he had Biden up under that hot lamp. I'm telling you, that lamp was hot. I remember the Seinfeld episode I watched, and this is the point in time where Seinfeld was trying to get some insurance or something like that for a package that he mailed. And so he was being interrogated by Seinfeld, or by Newman, Seinfeld was. And so Seinfeld's sitting on a light. Seinfeld's absolutely normal and just completely poised, and Newman is going off, but he's sweating. Well, let's do that in reverse. Trump is the master interrogator, and Biden is under that hot lamp, sweaty, while Trump is drinking a nice ice cold Diet Pepsi. No, a cherry Pepsi. You know, he likes Big Macs too, with extra ice. And so he's crushing this ice, and he's chewing, asking the questions. You know, why can't you denounce this, Joe? Why can't you do this, Joe? Why did you say this, Joe? And Joe's falling for the pressure. So Joe, with his, you know, the ice being crushed in his ear, the crunchy, Joe's like, oh, I can't take it anymore. Shut up, man, is the response to the President of the United States of America. Who tells the President of the United States of America to shut up? He yells at the President like he's, you know, right in front of national television, which is yelling at the President of the United States in front of the world. It's like Joe Biden sitting at home, yelling at his TV, in his boxes, watching the debate while eating Captain Crunch cereal, spitting all over his recliner. That's the Joe Biden that we saw last night. And so, you know, half senile, all that stuff like that too as well. So the big topic of debate right now, go over and check that article out at Breitbart too. Trump won the first debate. But the big topic right now that we're looking at in the world, in this country right now, is the Supreme Court. Now, the Supreme Court has been a place to run to for, you know, both parties for the most part. But as of late, it has been a place that it has been a place and refuge for the Democratic Party. And they like to go there when they want to win cases or get cases pushed through and stuff, because most of the time you have one in the middle that's in the Supreme Court. That's Justice Roberts. That's a little flaky. He has noodle legs. But the Supreme Court, what direction is the country going to go? That's a question everyone has here. What direction are we going at this time? So that debate started off just fine. It started fine. Everyone was respectful. President was like, hi, Joe. Joe was like, hi, Mr. President. And so we think we're going to have a normal debate. Well, you guys are in for a quick change of thought, so to speak. Video clip number 1, please.
Abuse of power. My first question to both of you tonight: why are you right in the argument you make, and your opponent wrong? And where do you think a Justice Barrett would take the court?
We won the election, and therefore we have the right to choose her. And very few people knowingly would say otherwise. And by the way, the Democrats, they wouldn't even think about not doing it. If they had, the only difference is they'd try and do it faster. There's no way they would give it up. So we won the election, and we have the right to do it, Chris.
They're not going to get that chance now because we're in the middle of an election already. The election has already started. Tens of thousands of people have already voted. And so the thing that should happen is we should wait. We should wait and see what the outcome of this election is. And that ended when we, in fact, passed the Affordable Care Act. And there's 100 million people who have pre-existing conditions, and they'll be taken away as well.
100 million people with pre-existing conditions. As far as a say is concerned, the people already had their say. Justice Ginsburg said very powerfully, very strongly, she said a president and the Senate is elected for a period of time, but a president's elected for 4 years. We're not elected for 3 years. I'm not elected for 3 years.
Trump responds. Then Joe, the defense of the Affordable Care Act. You know, or Obama, pick your lemon. You know, they want to defend this dead horse, kind of like the dead horse that Joe Biden is trying to get him across the finish line. They're beating this horse. There's this horse laying down there sideways, prostrate on his side. And they're trying to beat this horse. The horse doesn't feel anything. The horse feels no pain. And so Joe Biden is attempting to get the Affordable Care Act, which everyone says, what about that $2,500? I never got my $2,500. America, do you want your $2,500? I do. Clip number 2, please.
And the 100 million people, Joe, the 100 million people is totally wrong. I don't know where you got that number. The bigger problem that you have is that you're going to extinguish 180 million people with their private health care that they're very happy with.
That's simply not true.
Well, you're certainly going to socialist. You're going to socialist medicine.
We're now into, gentlemen, we're now into...
This is why I feel bad for Joe Biden, because apparently he must have some type of thing going on in his head up there. The reason why I say this is because 100 million people with pre-existing conditions, that means you're telling me that half of the country is sick? Oh my gosh, what a disgraceful country America has become. We're so unhealthy and everybody must be obese. If that many people have pre-existing conditions, I'm going to tell you this right here. You would see more fat people walking down the streets in the United States of America. More obese people probably floating over a building with a string attached to their pinky toe. Here comes out the husband, and most times they try to say it's the wife that gets kind of big, but I saw a pretty big guy the other day too. And it comes down, time for dinner, honey. Oh, well, pull you back in. You pull him back in, pull him the string. Everybody's obese. And so Joe Biden is living in a fantasy world. And so clip after clip after clip, we're going to dissect what's going on here. And America saw it plain and clear. They saw an old man that's kind of senile, have some mental deterioration going on. And once again, it's really abuse to me. So if half the country's sick now, what are we going to do? We have 100 million people that have pre-existing conditions. What is Joe going to do? You know, Joe's not going to do anything. In fact, Joe says he's the Democratic Party. So what's his plan? It seems like everyone else, excluding people that are on the far left, the AOCs, the Bernie Sanders of the world and like, they're also stepping all over his tomatoes too in his garden. But he says that he's the Democratic Party. Video clip number 3.
Discussion. Yes, I agree. Go ahead, Vice President.
Number one, he knows that what I proposed. What I proposed is that we expand Obamacare and we increase it. We do not wipe any. And one of the big debates we had with 23 of my colleagues trying to win the nomination that I won were saying that Biden wanted to allow people to have private insurance still. They can. They do. They will under my proposal.
It's not what you've said,
But
and it's not what your party has said.
That is simply
your party
a lie.
doesn't say it. Your party wants to go socialist medicine.
My party is
and
me.
socialist
right
healthcare.
Now, I am
and
the
they're going to
Democratic
dominate
Party.
you, Joe. You know that.
I am the Democratic Party right now.
If you're the Democratic Party, denounce Antifa. If you're the Democratic Party, you can't denounce something you said doesn't exist. Oh, that doesn't exist. That's kind of like Jerry Nadler. You talk about Black Lives Matter, Antifa, or what's going on in Portland. He's like, oh, that's a myth. That's just something going on in Washington. These people are absolutely crazy. Nancy Pelosi, you have people pulling down statues, dragging them down the street with their 1956 pickup truck with a chain wrapped around the neck of the statue. I don't care much about statues. That's what she says. But she cares about fridges. She cares about ice cream and things like that. But Joe Biden he did not want to denounce Antifa. And it's so funny because as we're sitting there, I'm looking and they asked the president a question. They said, President Trump, are you willing to denounce white supremacy and the good old boys or homeboys or Proud Boys or whatever the hell they are? And my response right there to the Proud Boys is probably the same response the president of the United States has when he heard that name. He was like, yeah, I'll denounce whatever. Let me tell you the reason why President probably answered the way that he did. And I don't think it was a weak answer. You got to understand, President Trump in his mindset, he's fighting for the country in his mindset. So my analysis, ladies and gentlemen, looking down at it is he is answers the question. He wants to get on with something else because that is not a big deal to him. Being a racist is not an issue to President Donald Trump. And you go back to 2017, 2018, there are things that Donald Trump says about racism, denouncing the KKK and the like. And still, Joe Biden says that he came to come to his peace and zen. He has little tambourines on his fingers. He's clicking and he's clicking and he's clicking. He's come to the zen, and what caused him to or prompted him to run for the president of the United States of America is because Donald Trump said that there are good people on both sides. Whoa, my gosh, the world is about to come to an end. Good people on both sides? Are you kidding me? So therefore, that's going to prompt you to run for the president of the United States because Donald Trump says something and they stop the tape. Seems like in the mind of all these people, they say words and then they'll come right to the end. He says there's good people on both sides. But he says He denounced clearly the white nationalists, the skinheads, whatever they be, those guys that come and don't do the stuff that Black Lives Matter. Here's another thing too, because this gets me kind of besides myself. I look at Black Lives Matter, and the last 4 months that they've been tearing up this country, burning down buildings, looting stores, knocking people out, shooting police officers, killing police officers. All of these things are happening under this umbrella, this beautiful umbrella of Black Lives Matter and also Antifa with George Soros' money. And there is nothing said at all, but they want the president to denounce something that he isn't. The president is not a racist, but I can go back and find many, many clips about Joe Biden and the racist things that he said. And once again, guys, if you don't vote for Joe Biden, you ain't black. That's what he says. And so I didn't say that. This is what Joe Biden said. So that's what I gotta ask. You know, the party. How about your party refuse or denounce Black Lives Matter? They won't do that. They can't do that. Video clip number 4, please.
The 200,000 people that have died on his watch, how many of those have survived? Well, there's 7 million people that contracted COVID. What does it mean for them going forward if you strike down the Affordable Care Act?
Joe, you've had 308,000 military people dying because you couldn't provide them proper health care in the military. So don't tell me about this.
I'm happy to talk about this.
And if you were here, it wouldn't be 200, it would be 2 million people because you were very late on the draw. You didn't want me to ban China, which was heavily infected. You didn't want me to ban
all right, gentlemen,
Europe, which was heavily infected. You would have been much later, Joe.
Mr. President,
much later.
Mr. President.
You're talking about 2 million people.
You're not
Mr. President, as the moderator, we are going to talk about COVID in the next
Bring this
segment.
up and let's lay this beautiful mantle, this beautiful purple mantle of deaths from coronavirus on the president of the United States. That just does not work. And so President Trump turns it on Joe Biden. He says, wait a minute. Oh, hold on a second, Hoss. If you think you're going to try to catch me slipping, that just isn't going to happen today. How about the 300,000+ deaths that happened under your watch with the VA scandal, which people say that Barack Obama and Joe Biden had a scandal-free administration? That is nearly impossible for any administration to be scandal-free. There is something going on. You have hundreds of thousands of people around with contractors and also employees that are working in that mastodon of an organization which is called the government. So Joe Biden is trying to hang this on Trump. Okay, and here's the thing. You look at the VA scandal. So if we're going to go back and try to compare apples to apples, which there's an apple and an orange, or an apple and a grapefruit, or apple and a watermelon. 300,000 people under your watch when they were sitting there in hospitals, wanting to get care, wanting to be taken care of after they went and served our country. And they can't get the care. And so 300,000+ of them died, but no one talks about that. There is complete crickets. And so therefore, it is extremely imperative for us to call out the hypocrisy in the media. They lie to us all the time. Lie, lie, lie. But those deaths could have been 100% preventable. So the coronavirus contest loser goes to Mr. Joe Biden. So Trump gets into his head, and then he starts to systematically kneecap Joe Biden. So what happens there? We have Chris Wallace starting to get off into that there. So as he's in Joe Biden's head, he's going to educate him on balance. Clip number 5, please.
Go ahead. Let me finish. The point is that the president also is opposed to Roe v. Wade. That's on the ballot as well in the court. And so that's also at stake right now. And so the election is already
You don't know it's
begun.
on the ballot. Why is it on the ballot?
Because
Why is it on the ballot? It's not on the ballot.
It's on the ballot in the court.
I don't think so.
In the court. Well,
there's nothing happening there.
Donald, would you
and
just
you don't
be quiet
know
for a
her
minute?
view on Roe v. Wade. You
I
don't know her view.
Well, all right. Let's talk. We got a lot to unpack here, gentlemen. We got a lot of time. So
Trump is now starting to see that he is the moderator. He has to be the moderator too. And he begins to peel Joe just like a banana. Oh, that first peel, it hurts so much. It is the worst, I'm going to tell you right now. Chris Wallace is getting clues right now. As you can see, the frustration start to break out. He's starting to get clues like, oh my gosh, I might be a little over my head. Many, many years I've did presidential debates. Many years I've did many interviews. Many years I've done talk to people and had great conversations, but I've not stepped into the den of lions with Donald Trump. Donald Trump is a total shark, and he was in attack mode. What I see him fighting for the American people, and you guys should be grateful and thankful that you have someone like that fighting on your side. So Chris Wallace is starting to get clues that he's over his head. And so We're going to get off into Trump sparring with Chris just a little bit when we get back. And you guys are here at the right place at the right time on the Midweek Review. Be right back. This week, another Wednesday, a beautiful Wednesday. It's always a great time when you guys are here with me on the Midweek Review, where we talk about things all news and opinion as well. So when we just left just a second ago, we were talking about Chris Wallace and Trump having to spar with Chris Wallace. This is the craziest thing I've ever seen in my life. So you have a presidential debate here. You have two candidates that respectively won, you know, in their own little special way or whatever, on both sides respectively. And so here they are, and they're going to battle. And in the middle of the battle, or as the battle starts to get hot, instead of letting these guys body up, I remember playing the NBA. They played the games in NBA, right? And back in the day, you had the bad boys, the Pistons. Those guys used to body up real bad. They bang you up in the paint. They're knocking you all over the place. You're taking those hard fouls. Don't be a small guard thinking you're going to go into the paint and just going to go in for a layup. You have a 7-footer. You won't go in amongst the trees, and they're swatting that crap down, and they're swatting you down to the floor as well. So here comes Chris Wallace. And Chris Wallace really did a disservice to the debate stage last night. Amongst all the confusion, he had no inability. He was inept. He was rendered neutralized last night by President Donald Trump. And the reason why Donald Trump had to become the moderator, if you think about it, he had to moderate the debate too as well, because there are questions that the media will not ask Joe Biden. Joe Biden will never ask these questions, or he'll say things like, oh, well, I'll get to it later or whatever. And realistically, it's just not the right thing to do, guys. If you guys are running for the president of the United States of America, if you are running and you want to hold the highest seat in the land, if I have a question, I'm going to tell you what, if you want me to drop that beautiful golden ballot into the ballot box for you, you would should probably start answering questions that I need answered. That golden ticket. You guys remember Willy Wonka, the Chocolate Factory? Look, Mom, I won the golden ticket, right? This is all funny, right? Anyways, but that's Joe Biden. But then he wants you to drop that golden ticket into that ballot box for him. But you can't answer questions. One simple question that was asked not by the moderator, not by people in the crowd, not by people outside. The question was asked by Donald Trump. Trump had to ask the question because it was not being answered by the moderator. And here's the problem with the media nowadays. And the reason why there are news outlets and people distributing the news like here on the Midweek Review is because they're not willing to tell the truth. So many of those people have money out there and influence, and they have reach. Their money has so much reach, but they will not tell the truth because they want to keep control over you. So as you see the kneecapping of Joe Biden, here comes other people coming in to save him, just like Chris Wallace. So Biden didn't want to answer the question. And one big question we have is that court packing question. Here's the reason why this is very dangerous, ladies and gentlemen. Packing the court. Some people might say, well, it's not that big a deal. You can add a few Supreme Court justices. The things that they're proposing, guys, they're trying to attempt to have one party rule for the rest of eternity. So that means you could be a little child from cradle to grave. You grow up, you see certain people, a certain party into place and in power. When you die, you're in the bed. You're like 90 years old, and you're looking at the TV, and you look at the president being elected again. And this president is a Democrat president. And you have not seen a Republican president all your life. This is what one party rule looks like. Venezuela is another example too as well. So we're here, we're in the fight. But over at Breitbart, it says Biden not going to answer on ending filibuster. Packing court. People should vote. So I remember when they were asking the question, he was talking about packing the court, and then Joe Biden looks at the camera and he starts talking to the camera. I noticed when Joe Biden's under pressure, he does a couple of things here. I'm going to break it down here. So if I'm a body expert, looking at body language and the way people move, where they salute or wave at people, how you doing? The little small hi, right? They wave like that. Joe Biden, he was waving the white flag last night. Didn't realize it. So every time Trump came in and hit that kidney shot, oh, you hear Joe Biden say that, right? Then all of a sudden he'll turn, he'll look at the camera. Just go vote. Don't. Just go vote. Don't believe this man. And so we have Donald Trump over here. We have the moderator down here. He completely zones out, like he has an earpiece in his ear, and he zones out. And so he's looking at the camera, or he's grabbing his ear, or he says things like, shut up to the President of the United States, which I think is a completely disrespectful thing to do. During Tuesday's presidential debate, 2020 Democratic presidential nominee, former Vice President Joe Biden refused to say whether he supports increasing the size of the Supreme Court or any of the filibuster if the Supreme Court nominee, Judge Amy Coney Barrett, is confirmed, because whatever position I take on that will become the issue. What the hell does that mean? Whatever position I take on that will become the issue. We want to know right now. You're being asked a question, point blank range, in front of the American people, millions of people looking, they're waiting on bated breath. They climb to the top of this peak, this hill, this mountain, this precipice to get to the top to get the answer. And oh my gosh, Joe Biden does not want to answer the question. Here's the problem I have with that, ladies and gentlemen. President Trump always asks questions. If he doesn't have an answer, he will get an answer for you. President Trump is always out in the open for the American people to come see him, attack him, answer questions, throw batons at him, throw Chinese stars, Japanese stars, ninja stars at him out of the side of the cubicle. Whatever it may be, Donald Trump makes himself available. In fact, he is the most available president I've ever seen in my life, in this lifetime. He's very available, and he answers questions. But so for this question not to be answered, this is absolutely disgrace. And Chris Wallace is a disgrace too for not pressing him on this question. This is a big deal. This is what happens. You put 2 more Supreme Court justices on the court, and you are in power. You are a Democrat or you're a Republican. It doesn't matter what the party is, ladies and gentlemen. If you are that party that wants to do that, it is wrong. There should be a ebb and flow to a country. That's how it goes. There's a Democrat president, and there is a Republican president. Same way. Congress, Senate, they come in and go out. But the problem I have with what Chris Wallace didn't do is not call him on it. Because I can guarantee you, if it was President Trump, like he got forceful with it many times. And I have to say this because that was the most irritating part of the debate. They say Trump acted like a child, but the one, if I remember correctly, who drew the first blood was Joe Biden. Interrupting, disrupting. And so what happened? Trump went to town. Trump started reading him like a map. Trump walked up and down him like stairs. Let me get some exercise, Joe. Oh, this is a nice. Oh, he's stepping on Joe's ear. It was absolutely phenomenal. Moderator Chris Wallace mentioned calls to increase the size of the court or end the filibuster if Judge Barrett is confirmed, and asked, you called this a distraction by the president. But in fact, it wasn't brought up by the president. It was brought up by some of your Democratic colleagues. Now, I do credit Chris for that, but just a little bit. He gets like a smidge, just a smidgen of credit for that one. But he doesn't go in. And that's the problem with the United States media nowadays. They don't follow through. They ask the question. Either the question's a softball question, so you're like this. It's a pancake question, so it's lies flat, so you're like this, right? Or it's a stupid question. You're just like, what does that mean, right? So there's so many responses. Many people get those types of responses. It's going to be Nancy Pelosi. She says many stupid things. Chuck Schumer says many stupid things. In fact, those people are pretty dumb when it comes to running the country. But when it comes to taking care of the American people in the way they want to take care of the American people, when it comes to shafting, giving it to them, sticking it to the man, which is us, tax-paying American citizens, they are completely brilliant. They are geniuses. They are masterminds when it comes to that. And so Chris Wallace, he's sparring back and forth with Donald Trump. And he wants to convince us that he's not just some lowly hack. You know, if you tell me that that moderator Chris Wallace is not a hack, I'm going to say I'm not so sure. Not based on what I see. So the court packing deal is a big, big problem. But in fact, it was brought up by some of the Democratic colleagues, Chris Wallace said. So my question to you is, you have refused in the past to talk about it. Are you willing to tell the American people tonight whether or not you will support or ending the filibuster or packing the court? Now, ending the filibuster, what happened is we have a 60 cap. So in order to get something passed, it has to be a 60 rule, majority rule. So you have to have 60 votes basically to make it simple. I feel like a caveman right now. You know those guy commercials. It's so simple a caveman can do it. It's so simple you can do a radio show or a news show. A caveman can do it. Anyways, but they want to bring it down to about 50. I think it's 50-52. So they can pass and get things through. So what's going to happen? The American people, you're not going to have anyone to represent you. So this is a big, big deal. So spending this section of time on this situation, I think is very, very important, because I can guarantee you that's a big question to ask. And if you can't ask that question, you're not ready for prime time. Video clip number 7, please.
Mr. Vice President, if Senate Republicans, we were talking originally about the Supreme Court here, if Senate Republicans go ahead and confirm Justice Barrett, there has been talk about ending the filibuster or even packing the court, adding to the 9 justices there. You call this a distraction by the president, but in fact it wasn't brought up by the president. It was brought up by some of your Democratic colleagues in the Congress. So my question to you is, you have refused in the past to talk about it. Are you willing to tell the American people tonight whether or not you will support either ending the filibuster or packing the court?
Whatever position I take on that, that'll become the issue. The issue is the American people should speak. You should go out and vote. You're in voting now. Vote and let your senators know how strongly you feel. Vote now.
Are you going to pack the
Make
court?
sure you, in fact, let people know
He doesn't want
you're a
to answer the
senator.
question.
I'm not going to answer the question
Why
because
would you answer that
because
question?
the question is
Justice,
the
radical
question,
left.
Will you shut up, man?
Listen, who is on your list, Joe?
This
Who's
is
on your
so
list?
Right, gentlemen, I think
This
we've
is
ended
so
this.
He's going to pack the
unprecedented.
court.
We have
He's not going to give a list.
We have ended this segment. We're going to move on to the second segment.
That was really a productive segment, wasn't it? Keep yapping, man.
The people understand, Joe.
They sure do.
47 years you've done nothing. They understand.
All right. The second subject is COVID-19, which is an awfully serious subject. So let's try to be serious about it. We have had.
To tell me, is the debate not serious? I think if you look at it, Trump is talking about substantive things. Joe Biden is on the attack. Can we make this a serious debate? What are you talking about, Chris? Video clip number 8, please.
For a moment, what he's telling you, in light of all the lies he's told you about the whole issue relating to COVID, he still hasn't even acknowledged that he knew this was happening, knew how dangerous it was going to be back in February, and he didn't even tell you. He's on record as saying it. He panicked, or he just looked at the stock market. One of the two, because guess what? A lot of people died. And a lot more are going to die unless he gets a lot smarter, a lot quicker.
So,
Mr. President?
Did you use the word smart? So you said you went to Delaware State, but you forgot the name of your college. You didn't go to Delaware State. You graduated either the lowest or almost the lowest in your class. Don't ever use the word smart with me. Don't ever use that word.
Oh, give me a break.
Because you know what? There's nothing smart about you, Joe. 47 years you've done nothing.
Let's have this debate.
And if you
We'll
would
see
have had, let me just tell you something, Joe.
No,
if you would have had the charge of what I was put through, I had to close the greatest economy in the history of our country. And by the way, now it's being built again.
see,
and
he's
it's
We're going to
going
get
up
to the
fast.
economy in the next segment, sir.
Okay.
It's going up fast.
Okay.
Oh, you got to love this one. Here comes Trump. Trump comes in and scribbles all over a script, scribbles all over the cake. Smart? You know what I'm saying? And this proves that he's not that smart because the stupid stuff that he says. Video clip number 10, please.
Is because of him he says he's smart because he can take advantage of the tax code. And he does take advantage of the tax code. That's why I'm going to eliminate the Trump tax cuts. And I'm going to eliminate those tax cuts and make sure that we invest in the people who, in fact, need the help. People out there need help.
But why didn't you do it over the last 25 years?
Because you weren't president. Because you weren't president screwing things up.
You were a senator. And
You're
by
the
way,
worst
you were a
president
vice-
America has ever had.
Hey,
Come
Joe,
on.
let me just tell you, Joe. I've done more in 47 months. I've done more than you've done in 47 years, Joe. We've done things that you never even thought of doing,
Okay,
including
gentlemen.
fixing the broken military that you gave me, including taking care of
we're
your
talking,
vets.
Mr. President, we're talking.
So when you first heard President Trump say, smart, you're not that smart, don't ever say the words around me ever again, that just proved that Joe Biden is not that smart. He's pretty dumb, So Trump is like, how come you haven't done this in 25 years? You've been in office for 47 years. How come you haven't done this? And Joe's response, crazy Joe's response is, because you weren't president, screwing things up. So you're telling me that President Donald Trump went into the past to kind of screw things up, come back to the future when now he's actually the president. And so that's the problem. That argument made no sense. My wife was literally pulling out her beautiful curly hair when he made that response. Because you weren't president, screwing things up? How is it Donald Trump's fault that back in 2002, 2003, we were in a war, or back in 1996 or 97, we had economical problems, we had to do a reset. That's not Donald Trump's problem. It's not his fault. And so Joe Biden is spouting off incoherent sayings, which has me pretty concerned, and should have you guys concerned too. Another thing, I love this one here, the law enforcement question. If he's such a, here's the problem I have with this. If Joe Biden, if he's so much of a denouncing Black Lives Matter and Antifa, well, he has denounced Antifa, let's be clear here. But if he's denouncing Black Lives Matter or the violence and stuff like that, how come there are not police officers or police administrations or police associations trying to support or endorse Joe Biden? That is something to think about. People aren't thinking about that, but Trump has a plethora of them. From Chicago and from New York and California. They're all over the place. They're coming out of the sky. The sky is falling. Trump has this big old umbrella and has like police officer repellent on it. They're bouncing off and they're coming standing by him. It's absolutely amazing. So Joe Biden, he said he couldn't name not one. Joe Biden cannot name one law enforcement group that supports him. The Democratic presidential debate, candidate Joe Biden did not name a single law enforcement group that supports him against President Donald Trump at the first presidential debate on Tuesday night. During the debate, Donald Trump asked Joe Biden one of the law enforcement groups that supports his candidacy. Which one? But the former vice president was not able to say any. Clip number 11. This is rich. This is so rich, like that beautiful big giant cup of chocolate milk. You put that little Nestle quick in there. You're stirred up as a little kid. Your tongue's going crazy. You're excited. It's so rich. Clip number 11.
That's when crime went down. It didn't go up. It went down. And so we have to be engaged.
That's not what they're talking about, Chris. That's not what they're talking about. He's talking about defunding the police.
That is not true.
He doesn't have any law support.
Look,
he has no law enforcement
that's not
support.
true.
Almost
that's
nothing.
Look.
Oh, really? Who do you have? Name one group that supports you. Name one group that came out and supported you. Go ahead. Think. We have time.
We don't have time to do anything.
No, think
All right.
Name one law enforcement group that came out and supported you.
Gentlemen, I think I'm going to take back the moderator's
I don't
role,
think there are any.
and I want to get to another subject, which is the issue of.
So Chris saves him. Again, just pathetic, ladies and gentlemen, pathetic. And so I look at these so-called fact checkers out there. He doesn't have support from the police, but everyone wants to fact check it. I'm kind of glad that they're doing the fact checking thing right now, because if you look at this, Joe Biden stood on the stage and called Trump a liar. That's all they do. They call him liars all the time. But as you look at the aftermath, after the debates, then going off into today, Wednesday, September 30th, the one who turned out to be the liar, it says the proof is in the pudding. Figures don't lie, liars don't figure. The one who turned out to be the liar was Joe Biden. Fact checkers Chris Wallace and Joe Biden repeat Charlottesville very fine people hoax at the presidential debate, which is ridiculous. We've talked about this over and over again in infinitum. Both of them, moderator Chris, remember they were ganging up on him, and also Democratic nominee Joe Biden claimed that President Donald Trump said the response to the riots in Charlottesville in 2017 that neo-Nazis were very fine people. False. Biden has repeated this hoax since the beginning of the campaign. Wallace knows better. We'll leave that one at that right there. Chris Wallace needs to go over to CNN, no doubt about it. I'm going to tell you, that's just horrible. And so we have a country that's unraveling right before our eyes, and so many moving parts and pieces that are going on and things are happening. But you go off into the East Coast, and we have a situation with a mayor named Bill de Blasio in an overwhelming overbearing governor named Cuomo. And it is a kind of a crap show out there because the mask vigilantes are back again. Mayor Bill de Blasio announces mask patrols. So you guys see guys out there have their little mask on, and they got like MP on there, like military police, mask patrol, and they got a little mask on the side of the little van, to get you out, hit you over the head with a little blackjack. That'd be awesome. But he says Mayor Bill de Blasio, the communist de Blasio, announces mass patrols to find offenders that will happen aggressively, he says. Mayor Bill de Blasio announced on Tuesday that the city will aggressively move forward to enforce mask mandates and find those who refuse to wear face coverings. This right here is becoming a Achilles heel to the American people. The Democratic ran states and cities are still putting cloaks on these people, covering up their liberties. They are not able to move and produce money for their family and run their businesses because they make the American people think that we're at the height of the pandemic. The numbers of death tolls are dropping. The numbers that we've hit that curve. We've bent that curve we were looking for. It's taken some time, but trust the American people to be responsible. Trust the American people to wash their hands. Trust the American people to sanitize. Trust the American people to social distance. You do not have to be Big Brother all over them, finding them, trying to make more money to fill your coffers because all the multimillionaires are leaving New York. You are a disgrace, Bill de Blasio. The mayor spoke about the continued actions in the city to combat Chinese coronavirus, citing hundreds of additional city agency personnel handing out masks, encouraging testing, and pushing back against misinformation. Guys, whether you test or not, here's my view. Okay, if you test something or you test somebody, whether you get the test or not, well, this is what Joe Biden says last night on the stage. Well, we need more testing. Duh. What do you think we're doing in this country? We need more PPE. Duh. What do you think we're doing in this country? PPE, ventilators. We have more than we're providing for the world. And so if you don't believe it, just go and check. Just try it. Check it. It's a joke. Okay? These guys are absolutely a joke. And so I'm on the front line here giving you guys the straight up truth. No doubt about it. So Joe Biden. Mr. Joe Biden says, and he admits that he's going to raise taxes. Now, guys, he'll raise taxes on the middle class. I have a question for you. If someone says they're going to take more of your money, take more. No, you're not going to do that. That just doesn't happen. If someone's taking more of your money, you don't want to give it up. I wouldn't. One of the key moments of Tuesday night's presidential debate was Joe Biden promising twice. 1, 2. For everyone who's in Sesame Street or Electric Company, we had this show back in the 70s they called Electric Company. It was fantastic. To raise taxes on everyone, including the middle class. That's why I'm going to eliminate the Trump tax cuts, Biden said during the first of 3 debates. And this is one of the times where he actually developed a spine and he's told the truth. Joe Biden says he'll raise taxes. That's just like me saying that, if I have an apartment to rent to you, okay? Check this out. But here's the kicker right here. With this apartment, the rent's going to go up every single month. Who would be so dumb to rent that apartment? If the rent's going to go up every single month, and I'm not going to give you a percentage of when it's going to go up, might be 5%, might be 10%, depending on how I feel when I wake up in the morning. How's the wind blowing? That's what your rent's going to be. Well, America, Joe Biden is attempting to rent you an apartment with a living room. The rent, it breathes. You're sitting in the living room right now and you hear the rent is breathing. It is wanting to take more of your money. It wants to eat your wallet and purses. It has big, sharp teeth, piercing the American soul. And the Democrat motto is, if you're one of us, you'll take a bite.
Chocolate cream pie. Compliment to the house.
Oh, hope you saved room for dessert.
The chef said that he made it special for you.
Oh. Best pie I've ever tasted. Take a bite, George. Take a bite. It's delicious. I insist.
If you're one of us, you'll take a bite.
Oh yeah, take a big bite of that crap sandwich. Okay, it's been boiled, that spoiled boiled pie or whatever it may be. It turns your stomach black and blue, getting beat up on the inside. You're on the meeting and you're like, oh my gosh, what's going on here? My stomach just doesn't feel well. I don't feel great. You're at the toilet. You're paying at least to your toilet bowl. And you have Joe, the chef right here. He's trying to trick you. Here's his big old hat. America, we just buy back, buy big, buy better, buy America. We got to come together. And inside that ingredients, that pie, it's going to turn your stomach. But he's saying, if you're one of us, you'll take a bite. I don't want to take a bite of that crap. I just don't want to. So last night's debate, everybody, you saw a chef peeking around the corner, just looking. Oh, is America going to fall for it? Is America going to fall for this crap here? So I know you're not going to fall for it. Joe Biden thinks you're going to fall for it, but it's about that time because Joe Biden, you know, you're it's like this here. Joe Biden, the way he was behaving himself, it's like Auntie Ethel. She takes a bite of that crap sandwich, that message that he was spitting or spewing last night, which there was really no substance. She's like, oh, what's going on? You know, he said this pie was a good pie. Auntie Ethel, you okay? Ethel was hurting. But, you know, George's response to everyone else in America, he was like, you saw, he was like, America's like, we're starting to see Antifa. So the first bite you get and you start to feel the sour Antifa, you're like, Black Lives Matter. America burning. Let's put it on a statue. And you're sitting there like that. That's what we're doing. We are waking up and Donald Trump is leading the charge. And so even though Trump was undressing him, garb by garb, piece by piece, accessory by accessory, he still didn't get it. And so guys, is that the president you want? Not sharp, clueless for the most part to run your country. Okay, on to other things. News. You guys are going to love this one here. This is fantastic. I should probably tell you guys. No, I'm not going to tell you. No, I'm going to tell you. And we're going to get out of here. So fun having you guys today with this man. And then that debate and just being able to represent your country. Isn't this great? Representing the United States of America. That's what I'm talking about. So over in sports, I actually have a little bit of sports information for you guys. I wouldn't call it news because you guys know the NBA has been having their playoffs lately here. And their ratings on the sports channel side has dropped about 45%, they said. 45%. So if you look at how the landscape of the social justice wars, how everything started, you have the Kaepernicks of the world and all these other athletes to come. Now no one's watching the sports. Black Lives Matter came, they ruined organizations. And so the NBA is suffering a 45% drop in their ratings, and rightfully so. We're talking about the finals, ladies and gentlemen. I remember having popcorns, hot dogs, barbecuing on the day of the finals just to see your champs lose the game and they win the game. A seesaw battle, back and forth, teeter-tottering, going through the motions, feeling the adrenaline running through. He makes the shot, but that's all gone, ladies and gentlemen. Unless we take our country back and take these social justice warriors out of their state and completely defeat them, the news that you hear will always be bad. Let's go back to the days where the news was good, the news was great, and we were talking about saving kittens out of a tree. You don't hear about that nowadays. You hear about people knocking out grandma while she was walking home with their groceries because she can't afford her car, because she's on a fixed income. Where did that come from anyway? Fixed income. But anyways, back to our country. We have a country to save, and so it's imperative for us to speak the news, speak the truth, and let everyone know that if you fight, this country can be saved and we can recover. So you guys have been here in the right place at the right time with your host, Yanni, on the Midweek Review. See you guys next week. Let's flex on the world. Let's go.